You're listening to Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. NFL, NBA news, and more coming to you right now. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. Okay, so here's a rundown. So we're going to go last week's storylines, contenders or pretenders the last week of this segment, and then I'm going to start talking about potential playoff matchups. We've got the Tank Bowl. We've got the Midway NFL Awards predictions. We've got news. We've got NFL Week 9. And then we've got NBA Week 3. The Saints beat the Bucks. The Saints are becoming Tom Brady's kryptonite in the regular season. Tom Brady threw 4 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Tom Brady is still playing at elite level quarterbacking. The Tampa Bay defense needs to pick up a hell of a lot more than what it is. I think that the Bucks are in a very good place. They're just that game was just an aberration. I think that they're going to be fine. They're going to bounce back this week. I think they're playing this week, but the next game after that, then in a couple of weeks they're playing the Giants, who suck. But yeah, it's that game was so much fun to watch. I watched the Gaming 40 on the Game Pass app, because what I do is I watch the games that I want to talk about in the 40 minute version, just because watching several almost 4-hour games is just not comprehensible for me. Anyway, moving on. The Cowboys, are they Super Bowl bound? That made me just feel vomit in my mouth a little bit, just saying the Cowboys might be Super Bowl bound. The Cowboys are playing incredible football. However, they're about to come up against some really good opponents coming up. The Vikings aren't that good, so they're coming against the Broncos. They should beat the Broncos, but the back half of their schedule is not fun and it's not easy. So this will really test whether they are contenders. The Steelers beat the Browns, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the locker room with the Browns and OBJ, and I'll get into that later in my news segment. OBJ's dad had a lot to say about OBJ and Baker. Yeah, I did mush the Browns. I think that I owe the entirety of the state of Cleveland an apology for mushing the Browns. I should not have done that. I apologize. And if you want to sue me, because that was a bad thing to do. So yeah, the Steelers still aren't the Steelers. Like they won 15-10. It wasn't a big win. But yeah, that was a game. And now let's talk about some positive news. The New York Jets. Do they have a quarterback controversy? Mike effing White threw for 405 yards, threw 4 touchdowns, and he looks incredible. Do they have a quarterback controversy? It's real. If the Jets beat the Colts on Thursday Night Football, that's when the controversy is really going to start heating up a little bit more. Just over that. And over the whole quarterback room, the quarterback controversy, whether Zach Wilson is the right quarterback, that's all going to be piling up just then. So yeah, I think stick with Mike White. I do. I think stick with Mike White. The players in the locker room seem to love him a lot more than they love Zach. But yeah, I would stick with Mike White if I was the Jets. The Kansas City Chiefs win against the Giants, but did they really? The Giants threw that game away. It was a winnable game. The Chiefs are broken. They are broken into pieces. They're not the same Chiefs of old. And yeah, I'm upset about it. I really am. The Giants season's over. It's done. I'll talk more about the Giants later. Maybe next couple of weeks. Thank God we've only got one more week, then we've got a bye week and we don't get hurt. Because the bye week makes us not get hurt. Even though anything still, if we could lose a bye, we'd lose a bye. The Miami Heat are heating up this season, and they look like they're going to be a contender in the East, which is good. I love it when Miami's good. Miami will be one of my future homes when I move to the US. Like, Miami's going to be my first home in the US, and I'm looking forward to that. KD is still KD. Did we think anything else from the Slim Reaper? He's still good. And a controversial thing that I'm going to bring up is Carmelo Anthony carrying the Lakers. I think he is. He's definitely in contention for being the sixth man of the year. I think that he definitely is carrying the Lakers. It's just funny having Carmelo Anthony be our best player at the moment. Like, Russ certainly isn't. AD, it can be, but he has like 2.1 injuries per game. And then LeBron's just LeBron. Like, I think that we've gotten so used to LeBron, that his greatness, that we just sort of like underappreciate it now. So, contenders or pretenders? We've got the Packers, they're 7-1. They're contenders. I'll talk about them later. We've got the Bills, 5-2. They're definitely contenders. We've got the Patriots, 4-4. They are pretenders. I do not think that they are going to make it to the playoffs at all. We've got the Vikings, 3-4. They are pretenders. I don't think that they are going to make it to the playoffs. So, let's go on to the Tank Bowl. The Jags and the Texans are still in it. You might add the Lions, but I think the Lions are trying to win. So, let's talk about the Midway Point Awards. That I think this is my midway point of who I think is going to win all the awards. MVP, I think, is Tom Brady. Offensive Player of the Year, I think, is Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year, I think, is Aaron Donald. Rookie of the Year, I think, is Jamar Chase. From the Bengals. Comeback Player of the Year, I think, is Joe Burrow. Coach of the Year, I think, is Zach Taylor from the Bengals. Now, let's get into some news. Aaron Rodgers tests positive for COVID, and he lied about being vaccinated. This just is like and the media just he's like a media darling. The media just has not gone at him the way that they would if it was somebody else. If it was Lamar Jackson that did this, Lamar would be dragged through the mud. But because it's Aaron Rodgers, they're not dragging him through the mud on anything, which I think is kind of stupid and silly, but hey, that's just me. So he's definitely going to be out against the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And it could be out against the game against Seattle the following week. Henry Ruggs III, charged with a DUI resulting in a death. This is a very, very sad situation. I think that, like, there is no reason to drive drunk these days. You've got Lyft, you've got Uber, you've got taxis, you can even call a driver. Every single team and every single player gets given a card at the beginning of the year saying, anytime, any day, you want a driver, here's a number for a driver. The NFL pays that. The NFL pays for that service. Why don't players use it? It sucks. Yeah, I'm not going to go too much more into it because it'll just get me angry. And I don't want to be angry today. Today's not a day to be angry. I've got a 12-hour shift, so today's not a day to be angry. Jameis Winston, season-ending injury. Oh my god. I am so, Jameis was playing such good football and now he's injured. Taysom Hill is going to be elevated from, is going to be coming out of the concussion protocol to play on Sunday. But yeah, that's a devastating injury. Desean Watson, still a Texan, even after the trade deadline. His legal troubles aren't over yet, and I think that's why he hasn't been moved yet. His legal troubles have not been resolved, and that caused Miami to pull out at the last minute. OBJ is restless in Cleveland. I think his time in Cleveland after the season is done. At this point, I think the Browns should just cut him. Just cut him. Let him sign with a good team. And just let it be done. Just let it be done. Baker Mayfield plays so much better without OBJ on the field. He does. OBJ's dad is making all kinds of suggestions and all that type of stuff. Yeah, I think his time in Cleveland's done. Absolutely done. Kaput. Done. Joe Judge is not the right answer in New York for the New York Giants. Yeah, I'll get more into that in another episode. I'll dive deeper into that because I've got thoughts, feelings, and concerns. Because I do think that unless we're going to get someone like a Russell Wilson, I wouldn't move on from Daniel Jones, but I'd move on from Joe Judge. Von Miller traded to the Rams. Yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing that happened. NFC, just be warned, the Rams are good. Now some NBA news. CP3 moves to third number all on all-time assists list. I love CP3. I think that he would be my point guard in any league that I started. He's the ultimate leader, and I'm proud of him. Proud of CP3. Zion, injured again, is out for 2 to 3 weeks. Zion needs to lose weight. It's funny because a lot of people don't realize how big Zion is. The other day, I was watching the TNT broadcast, and Chuck said that it's like he and Shaq had a baby, and it's Zion. Zion's out of shape. He's out of shape. Like he's a big boy. He needs to lose some weight. Harden equals Bird with his 59th triple-double of all time. James Harden's been very underappreciated in Brooklyn, I think. I think he's been very underappreciated. Yeah. I would not be surprised if Harden moves to somewhere else, because he's going to be a free agent. He'll probably go to Philly. Reunite with Daryl Morey. Yeah. DeAndre Ayton leaves the Suns game early with a right leg contusion. So prayers up to Ayton. Durant is fined for throwing a ball into the stands. Yeah, don't throw a ball into the stands, guys. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Absolutely not. So, let's get into some predictions for Week 9 of the NFL. We've got the Colts versus the Jets. I'm going with the Colts. We've got the Giants versus the Raiders. I'm going with the Raiders. We've got the Saints versus the Falcons. I am going with the Falcons, just because the Saints are all banged up. We've got the Jags versus the Bills. I'm going with the Bills, and poor Jag souls. We've got the Bengals versus the Browns. I'm going with the Bengals. We've got the Panthers versus the Pats. I'm going with the Pats. We've got the Cowboys versus the Broncos. I'm going with the Cowboys. We've got the Ravens versus the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings. We've got the Dolphins versus the Texans. Oh my god. This game is going to suck. Oh my god, who do I go for? I think I might go for the Dolphins. We've got the Eagles versus Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers. We've got the Chiefs versus the Packers. I'm going with the Chiefs just because the Packers are less 100 QBs. We've got the Niners versus the Cardinals. I'm going with the Niners. We've got the Rams versus the Titans. I'm going with the Rams. And we've got the Steelers versus the Bears. I'm going with the Bears. Now, for some NBA Week 3 predictions and games that you should be watching for. We've got the Knicks versus the Bucks. I think that could possibly be a first round matchup in the playoffs. So, yeah, look forward to that. That will be a very, very good game. We've got the Lakers versus the Blazers. That again is going to be a good game. See how Dame Lillard plays. He hasn't been playing well. I think his relationship with Chauncey Billups is not the best. We've got the Nets versus the Bulls. The Bulls are on fire. The Nets are okay. But yeah, that'll be a good game too. So that is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports Podcast with me, Lucia. So I'll catch you all next week. Bye!